Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Who here loves AI? Who loves those chatbots? All right. How about when you need support and that interactive voice response? If you're like me, you're like, operator, please. Operator, please. A couple weeks ago, I was on the phone, and I'll tell you that if I were Victor, this would have been a couple months ago. But I had gotten a phone from work that I never activated, never had a phone line to it. It had been shipped back, and I keep getting bills for it. So I call AT&T to try to get this bill to stop coming to my house. I get on, and it says, tell me your account number. I say the account number. It says, that account doesn't exist. Tell me your account number. Tell it again. My husband says, the computer doesn't understand sarcasm. I'll tell you, I started off with this interactive voice response, and it already put me in this bad mood. So by the time I actually did get to speak to an operator to help support me, the interaction was not healthy. I could tell that there was some deflation in her voice as the conversation moved on. And I recognized in that moment that I was moving down the mood elevator. Who here has heard of the mood elevator before? All right, well, let me enlighten you. There's this book by Larry Sen, and it's called The Mood Elevator. The idea is that we live every day on different floors of the elevator based on the reactions, actions, whatever is going on in our world. We might be on different floors. In this instance, and thanks to this project of me being heightened with my awareness of how I'm reacting to others, I realized I was on one of the lower floors. I changed my tone, I changed my behavior, and to be honest, the operator took a step back. There was a very long, awkward pause when I said, thank you for everything that you were able to do, even though I know you weren't able to solve my problem. And she didn't know if I was being sarcastic or if I really meant it. And I did really mean it because it was nothing to her fault. And I could tell that when we ended that conversation, it was much better than how we started. Well, the point of this book was to recognize that when you're on this top floor, you are more accountable. You're able to be your best self. You can be collaborative, you can be creative, and you're open to ideas and change. When you're on the bottom floors, you're more likely to be off your game. You're less accountable. It's nothing that you can do. You're less collaborative, less creative, and less open to ideas and change. In this book that I also read recently, it gives you key strategies on how to make sure that you're living in those upper floors. So today I'm going to talk to you about my experiences in the last couple of weeks and 3 of the key strategies that I took away from this book. The first one is to practice gratitude. Now, I've mentioned before when we talked about family traditions, how I really like to go around the table and say, what was your favorite thing this year? But to be honest, me and my family, we do this every day. And it's become such a habit that the kids kind of argue over who gets to ask what was your favorite part of the day, because then whoever asked that question gets to assign who goes first. And I would say if I were to come up with the list of things that I'm grateful for, maybe it's that my husband folds the napery. There are so many things that I'm so grateful for. I don't have time for that in this speech. So let me talk about the next strategy, which is breaking negative thought cycles. This point is to just really be intentional and conscious with how you can shift your thoughts when you recognize that you're on the lower floors. You need to intentionally pay attention where you are in this mood elevator and how you're showing up to others. You can't be like, oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. It's more of a, what can you do to get yourself out of that situation and help with the interactions that you're having with other people? Now, I know in Toastmasters, one of my crutch words for a while was right. And I'll tell you, one of my crutch phrases at home was, do you understand? Now, I'm telling you, 5, 7, 9-year-olds, everything. Do you understand? Well, one day my husband was mocking me. And so now everybody goes around saying, do you understand? With like an and at the end. And every time somebody does that, that breaks us out of these negative thought cycles. Now, I seriously don't know if they understand what I'm talking about, but at least it brings me up the levels And I get out of that frustrated, do you understand, to the laughter, happy, do you understand? You can tell the difference. The third strategy is really just to aim to be curious. The middle floor was curiosity. And the reason for that is that if you find yourself below curiosity, you should really think about how you can approach your situations with curiosity rather than judgment. That way, you're open to hearing more information and questioning things that include your own thoughts and feelings. At work, we have this other training called Think Twice. And the gist of it is that you can't control your first reaction. These are all the natural unconscious biases that you've grown up with and you've learned how to react in an instant. But what you can control are your subsequent reactions and your first action. An example the other day was we were at the dinner table and my son was saying something snarky, and my husband reminded him about manners. I'll tell you, my husband, he moves out of that elevator much faster than I do. And it all kind of snowballed. And what it turned out after talking to my son was that he really didn't understand what my husband was upset about. I go back to my husband and kind of played the moderator, mediator, for why this situation should be discussed, de-escalated. If I go back to one of my favorite sayings, is that everything is figure outable. And if you remember to stay curious, that sentence holds true. So to wrap up, how can you elevate yourself to those top floors? This exercise intentionally made me aware of my emotions and my interactions with others. I've mentioned Clifton's strengths before, and I'll tell you, empathy is like out of 34, it's like 33 or 34. And it's not that I don't have empathy, it's just that it is not a natural talent for me, and it does require more effort. But with tools like the mood elevator, I think that all of us can really elevate ourselves.